we're going to talk about is inverse functions. And inverse functions, it's the same idea, we're just replacing y with x. So let's think if I had the normal function f of x, if I wanted to find the inverse of it, I would write this as f of x inverse, or the inverse of f of x. Here's how you read this. You do not say f to the negative first of x. It's the inverse of f of x, or f of x inverse. And the way we can find the inverse function, it's kind of the same idea. The first thing we do is we replace f of x with y, because we've talked about how f of x is the same thing as y. And then in the equation, we're going to interchange or switch x and y in the equation. Then we're going to solve it for y. And then we're just going to replace y with the inverse of f of x in the new equation. So it's the same thing. We're just doing it with the equation now instead of points. So if I want to find the inverse of f of x equals 4x minus 8, first thing I do is I replace the f of x with a y. So this was kind of like step 1. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch around x and y. So I'm going to say x equals 4y minus 8. It's kind of like step 2. Now I'm going to solve this for y. I'm going to start by adding 8. So I get x plus 8 equals 4y. Then I'm going to divide each side by 4. X plus 8 all over 4 equals y. This was kind of like step 3. And then to go ahead and do step 4, all I do is I replace the y with the inverse of f of x. So, no new skills here. All we're doing is switching around x and y, and then we're solving an equation for y. We've done that plenty of times. So the only tricky part that's new is rewriting this with a y, switching around the x and the y from the first equation, and then solving for y, and then we replace y with f of x inverse. So now to do part B, same thing. Rewrite it with a y. Then I'm going to switch around the x and the y. And now I go ahead and I solve for y, which I'll go ahead and do up here. I'm going to start by subtracting 11. So I get x minus 11 equals negative 1/2 y. I need to multiply each side by the inverse of negative 1/2, which is negative 2. And notice I'm multiplying everything on this left side by negative 2. So I get negative 2x plus 22. Negative 2 times negative 11 gives me positive 22 equals y. And then my last step, just replace the y with an inverse of f of x. Again, just follow those same 4 steps over and over again, and these problems are fairly straightforward.